Charles Oliveira's really good, man. Really good. For him to starch him like that with essentially one punch is extraordinary.
But with me coming up, he was like, I don't have to take this risk. I'm going to move up to the 170. I'm going to try to get another belt. And that's all, because he knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm going to put him to sleep. Even Khabib. The only reason they don't want me to fight against him, because they know that
tensions between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev are hitting a boiling point. Just recently, the two reportedly had a heated exchange at an airport. Not long after, footage emerged showing Topuria physically confronting a group believed to be supporters of Islam. Reacting to the chaos, Joe Rogan didn't hold back on his podcast. He argued that the UFC needs to book this fight immediately. You've got Topuria swinging at Islam's people, Rogan said. You can't let this one slip by. It needs to happen now.
I think in the division, stylistically, honestly, I see Islam just like dominating all these guys. Obviously, Justin always has that knockout chance. He always has that power. And then Arman, that first fight was so good.
The airport incident came just hours after another controversial video began making rounds online. During a private live stream hosted by the Nelt Boys, Ilia Topuria was seen striking 3 individuals after a tense exchange. The men had casually mentioned Islam Makhachev as their favorite fighter, and one even joked about a comparison to Khabib. Topuria asked them to repeat the comment, then abruptly stood up and threw punches. The first hit landed clean. The second man attempted to defend himself but was quickly dropped. The third tried to retreat but still caught a shot to the jaw. The stream was immediately cut, and the Nelk team later issued an apology, saying they didn't expect such a reaction from Topuria.
That was like, come on, you're good. I'm like scared to hit him because I know he's gonna hit him very.
The situation has only intensified in the days since. While Islam Makhachev has remained mostly silent, his teammates Barrett Chukube took to Instagram, criticizing Topuria with a blunt message. Topuria thinks he's a champion because he hit kids. Shortly after, Arman Tsarukyan added fuel to the fire with a tweet reading, El Matador, more like El Problem. Makhachev then reposted the message, signaling quiet support. Topuria hasn't stayed silent either. He posted a message to his Instagram story saying, "No one disrespects me and walks away without consequences." Though his team has declined interview requests, they issued a brief statement claiming that Ilia reacted on instinct to what they described as direct provocation.
Of 2 guys that are stars in the same area. It's Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre all over again. Would have won George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva. That debate still goes on. I look at that fight and I say Islam, but Ilia's the one that pushed for the fight. When we look back at this situation, the fact that Ilia entered the division, gave his belt up, tried to get the fight, I think it's going to create a real problem in the future when you're debating these two. And we got a source saying the same time that Islam knew he was going to go to 170, but
at the heart of all this drama lies the highly anticipated potential showdown between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. Following Topuria's dominant performance during International Fight Week, UFC President Dana White hinted on the Full Send podcast that a clash between the two could be inevitable if Makhachev manages to secure the welterweight belt. If Islam wins the title, Dana said, a fight with Ilia becomes a massive event. Since then, every move from both camps has added fuel to the fire. Online, the rivalry has only intensified. Supporters of Topuria have taken to social media to criticize Islam's fighting style, claiming he often plays it safe and avoids risks. In response, Makhachev's fans argue that Topuria has yet to be tested by a world-class wrestler. The back and forth hasn't let up, and after the recent stream incident involving Topuria, the exchanges have gotten even more heated now. Many in the MMA community are beginning to draw comparisons to past legendary feuds, most notably the fierce rivalry between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor. Whether it reaches that level remains to be seen, but one thing's certain: if the UFC books this fight, it's going to be explosive.
Fight would be Ilia versus Islam too. Well, the other thing is that Islam moves up, and obviously if Islam won the title, you immediately have a super fight with him and Ilia.
The Nelk boys haven't been spared from criticism either. Their close ties to Islam Makhachev are no secret. Kyle Fagad and Steiny even traveled to Dagestan during the UFC 284 lead-up, filming a series of videos with Islam. In those clips, they trained alongside him, joined his team for prayers, and openly praised him as their favorite UFC fighter. That background made the recent live stream with Ilia Topuria even more controversial. Bringing Topuria on and cracking jokes about Islam's dominance didn't land well, especially not with Ilia. Things escalated quickly, and the situation turned physical. Joe Rogan didn't mince words in his reaction. On his podcast, he said, "You don't joke like that with a guy like Ilia. He's real. He's not putting on a show. If he throws a punch, it's because he means it." According to Rogan, if you poke Topuria about someone like Islam, expect a reaction, and not a verbal one.
It was meant to be Islam, that was the big talk, but he moved up to welterweight. Do you believe he moved up to welterweight to avoid you, or because he has his own goals?
Because he has his own goals. This is what I think.
Do you still think that's a fight that should happen? You guys are both forging legacies in different weight divisions. Do you think that's a massive fight that should happen?
We'll see how he does in the welterweight division. If he wins the title, I win the title in the lightweight division. Maybe I move up or he comes down to the lightweight division and we have the fight that everyone wants.
Ilia Topuria didn't hold back when addressing recent remarks made by Arman Tsarukyan. The two have had tension brewing for a while, especially after Tsarukyan withdrew from UFC 311, where he was originally lined up to fight Islam Makhachev. During a podcast appearance with the Nelp Boys, Topuria brushed off the entire situation, suggesting Tsarukyan wasn't worth the attention and questioning the legitimacy of his withdrawal. Topuria hinted that unless Arman starts beating legitimate top-tier opponents, throwing out names like Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje, he doesn't belong in the conversation. From Ilia's perspective, Tsarukyan isn't a serious threat right now, and certainly not a priority for the lightweight champ.
Is there any headway on Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena if that title fight's going to get booked soon?
I'll let you know when we get it done.
And just kind of piggybacking off that, obviously with Ilia's win, you know, everyone's really excited to potentially see a future fight with him and Islam. I know that's the fight that people wanted. Ilia said earlier this week that if Islam loses that fight, he wouldn't give the opportunity for Islam to fight for his belt again. Is that something you'd bypass? Because that seems like such a big fight to make.
I mean, this is all talk.
Speculative.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
But I imagine that's a fight you guys would want to make at some point. I mean, just the
At the moment, Ilia Topuria isn't viewing anyone else in the division as a serious threat. His sights are clearly locked on Islam Makhachev. Behind the scenes, his camp appears to be preparing with that exact matchup in mind. On the other side, things are much quieter. Makhachev's team has yet to confirm whether their next move is a jump into the super fight spotlight or one last defense of the lightweight belt. While nothing is official, UFC President Dana White recently acknowledged that the matchup between Islam and Ilia is what fans keep asking for. And with Topuria's unbeaten streak and surging fan base, he's quickly becoming one of the UFC's biggest rising stars. As for Makhachev, his dominant run and near-flawless resume still place him among the most feared champions in recent memory.
Ilia Topuria. He said, you know what, I want to go up to 155 pounds, fight the #1 contender, and then if he wins that, then he fights Islam. I think that's good, brother. I think he deserves.
I think if he move up and he beat somebody like Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira, he's next. Why not? Because there is nobody.
So you don't think right now Ilia deserves a shot at 155 pounds?
Without fighting in 155? Without? No, I don't agree. Because Islam already give chance. And people talk bad about like, oh, he fight 2 times with Volkanovski. But
if the fight does get booked, many in the MMA world have already started breaking down how it might unfold. Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev's longtime friend and mentor, shared his thoughts during a recent appearance on The Hustle Show. And in a twist that surprised many fans, he didn't name Ilia Topuria as Islam's toughest challenge. Instead, Khabib pointed to Jack Della Maddalena as the most dangerous opponent Islam could face, possibly the toughest test of his entire career.
What do you think would have happened if Ilia fought Islam this weekend?
Islam Makhachev.
He would have beaten him?
By TKO.
Oh, wow. Really?
I mean, that's a different level of fighters.
You think so? Wow.
You can't compare Ilia versus Islam.
Really? I have Ilia #1 pound for pound now.
Yes, because Islam not champion anymore right now.
Speaking candidly, Khabib Nurmagomedov didn't hesitate when asked who he sees as Islam Makhachev's toughest challenge. In my opinion, Della Maddalena is the most dangerous opponent Islam could face, he said. Not Charles, not Ilia. None of them come close. Khabib backed up his claim with clear reasoning. For one, the size difference. He emphasized that Della Maddalena isn't just taller. He's physically bigger across the board. Thicker legs, a wider frame, heavier overall, and with a reach advantage that could create serious problems skill-wise. Khabib gave Della Maddalena plenty of respect. He said Jack's boxing is just as sharp as Ilia Topuria's, if not more suited to longer exchanges. And when it comes to the ground game, Khabib pointed out that many are overlooking Jack's ability to scramble and defend, calling his grappling underrated but dangerous.
Islam versus Topuria. I think I'm backing Islam, innit? I'm still gonna back Islam. Like I said, we've seen glimpses of his grappling. We haven't seen his grappling against anyone as good as Islam. Like, don't forget, Islam subbed Oliveira. So there's levels to what his abilities are. So I'd say, yeah, on the feet, Ilia will be problems for Islam because he cracks, innit?
Islam is not...
Khabib's comments weren't just high praise for Della Maddalena. They were also a subtle dismissal of the hype surrounding Ilia Topuria. Despite all the buzz about a potential super fight, Khabib made it clear, if he were coaching Islam against both men, Della Maddalena would be the one keeping him up at night. He emphasized that Jack's size, striking power, and overall physicality present a greater threat than Topuria's speed or technique. For Khabib, it's not about drama or headlines, it's about preparation and danger. And in that equation, Maddalena ranks higher.
Should he be fighting next? Ilia Topuria? Or should he get the rematch with Charles Oliveira?
Man, that's tough to say. Who's next in line right now for him? Do you know?
Could be Oliveira. Could be Topuria if he goes up.
Yeah, but there's still guys, I think, at 45 for Topuria to fight. And I've never seen Topuria in person, but if he can make 145, dude, Islam's a big guy.
Big guy.
I think he's going to be a lot bigger than Topuria. But that being said, Topuria is an assassin, and I believe he can knock out anybody from 145 pounds to 170 pounds.
You think Islam?
Dustin Poirier recently shared his thoughts on a potential clash between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. While speaking to media, Poirier admitted he's a fan of Topuria's style, but questioned the size difference if Ilia were to jump to welterweight. It's a bit of a reach, he said. Ilia looks smaller, though I haven't seen him in person. Still, Poirier gave credit where it's due, pointing out that Topuria's knockout ability, timing, and sharp technique make him dangerous across multiple divisions. But he also added a warning. Ilia has never faced someone with Makhachev's size, control, and wrestling pedigree.